There's a lot to digest and a lot of voices to be heard. Stick to the frequency that amplifies these voices, stories and reports that make the difference. This is Akojopo News, 88.7 FM.
This is Kunle Amzat Studio, Akojopo 88.7 FM. Welcome to News Around the World.
Good evening, welcome to News Around the World on the most listened to radio station, Akojopo 88.7 FM, Ibadan. I am Wuraola Yusuf. The headlines: Presidential aide says Tinubu is having sleepless nights over insecurity. Oyo police rescued a kidnapped victim unhurt. Intensify manhunt. Slovenia becomes the first EU country to introduce fuel rationing. Pakistan willing to host peace talks to end the US-Israeli war on Iran. Super Eagles coaches arrive in Turkey ahead of friendly games. Now the details. The senior special assistant to the president on community engagement in the Northwest, Abdullahi Yakasai, has said the country's worsening insecurity is affecting President Tinubu's rest. Yakasai made a remark during an interview on a television program today.
Very unfortunate. Even the president is having sleepless nights because every week or every other week you see him having a security council meeting. This happens almost every week in the presidential villa. And why is he having this meeting? Is to see how to curb this insecurity.
The comments come against the backdrop of growing public concern over worsening banditry, kidnapping, and other violent crimes in several regions, particularly in the north. Yakasai acknowledged that the fight against insurgency has grown more difficult as groups have shifted to guerrilla-style tactics, making them harder to confront. The rising cost of fuel has become a major concern for many Nigerians as it continues to impact transportation, food prices, and the general cost of living. For many households and businesses, daily survival is becoming increasingly difficult. Their report takes a look at how people are coping with the situation and the challenges they face as fuel prices continue to rise. Akojopo FM News correspondent Abiodun Oloyede spoke with majority of different people in Ibadan on how they are coping with the rising cost of fuel. Here's the report.
The continuous increase in fuel price has placed a heavy pressure on Nigerians, affecting transportation, food prices, and the overall cost of living. Many citizens say the situation has made daily survival more challenging as expenses continue to rise. Some residents have adjusted by reducing unnecessary travel, while others now rely more on public transportation to save costs. In addition, many households are cutting down on non-essential spending in order to meet basic needs. Small business owners have also been affected, as the high cost of fuel has increased the cost of running businesses, while patronage has reduced. A public affairs analyst gives an account of how people are coping with the rise of cost of fuel in the country.
The purchasing power of people are being reduced or is being reduced drastically. Things are very high. Fuel cost of transportation and the salary people are receiving is not increasing. People don't have purchasing power to get whatever they want at the right time. So, in my own opinion, I think it has been so hard for people to cope at this period.
Looking stressed and tired from the bustle and hustle of the Monday afternoon, Mr. Daniel Oyare, a bike rider, shares the challenges of most motorcyclists.
First time I stop you, may give you a price from Akojopo here to Ujuri here. They may feel that you are punishing them or not know that you are how you are things we are seeing just This time is very hard for us.
For Mr. Kennedy, a young Nigerian who specializes in POP ceilings, urged the government to be proactive with their policies.
Some people, they don't get handwork. Now their business there to cope, to survive. But after everything don't change, for increase now, many people just day out. Many people just day out. Because if you enter yourself, I go day. So many help us.
The rising cost of fuel continues to affect the daily lives of many Nigerians, forcing them to adjust their spending and way of living. While people are making efforts to cope through various means, the situation remains difficult for households and businesses. There is a growing need for lasting solutions that will help reduce the pressure on citizens and improve the overall cost of living. Abiodun Oloyede, Agidigbo FM News.
Oyo State Police commanders rescued a kidnapped victim following a coordinated and intelligence-driven operation upon receiving information that armed hoodlums had invaded a community in the Oyo area and abducted a male victim while also carting away mobile phones and two motorcycles. The police public relations officer, DSP Ayolade Olayinka, in a statement released today, said efforts are ongoing to apprehend the fleeing suspect, while urging members of the public to remain vigilant and continue to provide timely and credible information, as community cooperation remains a critical component in the ongoing fight against crime. Similarly, the Oyo State Police Command has said it has arrested criminals recently involved in unlawful possession and sale of suspected human parts in Ibadan, highlighting the command's commitment to proactive policing and the protection of lives and public health. According to the PPRO, in line with its proactive measures to read the state of criminal activities, the commander routinely conducts stop and search operations, which serve as a key strategy for detecting and preventing illegal acts before they escalate. An unspecified number of people have lost their lives while scores have sustained varying levels of injuries when a petrol-laden tanker lost control, destroying everything on its path at the popular Burial J Road, an ever-busy area mostly inhabited by traders, artisans, and commuters. According to eyewitnesses' accounts, the settlement occurred about an hour after officials of the Oyo State Enforcement Team had besieged the facility to enforce its no street trading policy. Similarly, Assistant Superintendent and the Oyo State Service Fire Service of Tawamowo lamented the spate of illegal street trading, which he noted was inimical to the well-being of residents, calling for stricter measures to forestall a recurrence of the tragedy, as well as the Red Cross representative.
We got a call that there was an accident at Ojaoba axis of OJ, and since then we'll be here. We'll be trying as much as possible to keep the area safe for people around that are uninjured, and those that are injured, being able to manage them. What we did is we managed those that are injured, about 3 persons that are injured, and we've been trying to keep the area calm.
Now it is time to link up with our United Kingdom studio for the foreign news.
News from Kole Amza Studio, Agidigbo FM, United Kingdom. I am Zikrot Fasasi. Slovenia has become the first EU country to introduce fuel rationing to tackle disruptions caused by the US-Israeli strikes on Iran. The Prime Minister of Slovenia, Robert Golob, reassured its people that there is enough fuel in Slovenia and there will be no fuel shortages as the warehouses are full. There has now been restrictions under the new measure to a maximum purchase of 50 liters of fuel per day for private motorists and generous allowance of 200 liters for businesses and farmers. The government issued a warning and are nationwide restrictions to be policed by the petrol stations, with employees required to ensure that customers do not stock up on more than the allowed amount of fuel. 64 people were killed and scores more injured after a Colombian military transport plane crashed on takeoff in south of the country. The military plane took off from Caucaia Airport and flew for less than 2 miles from the airport before the flight ended in a crash. The total number of passengers were 114. Colombia Defense Minister Pedro Sanchez said the cause of the crash is yet to be determined and that there is no indication of an attack by criminal groups. He added that the plane was in airworthy condition and the crew was duly qualified. An indigenous ranger involved in the search and rescue operations stated that several survivors had been taken to a local hospital and the government sent their deep condolences to the families of those affected. And that ends the news from Kole Amza Studio. Agidigbo FM, United Kingdom. I am Zikrot Fasasi.
Welcome back. We shall also be moving to our Maryland studio, United States, for more foreign news.
News from Kule Amzat Studio, Agidigbo FM, United States. I am Oluwatosin Soya. The Senate has confirmed Markwin Mullin as Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, finalizing President Trump's shakeup of DHS following months of scrutiny of Christinium's leadership. In a 54-45 vote, the Senate confirmed Mullin, an Oklahoma Republican who has been in the Senate since 2023. Mullin will take over DHS at a critical period, with a shutdown of the department nearing 40 days. Democrats have opposed funding DHS without reforms to its immigration enforcement agencies, but the two sides have appeared more willing to engage in recent weeks, especially as TSA staffing shortages have snowed air travel and increased pressure on lawmakers to reach a deal. Senators have been negotiating with White House border Caesar Tom Oman, but Mullin could take on a leading role in the talks going forward. Mullin said at his confirmation hearing last week that his leadership will differ from Noam's. He said his style is empowering people, and he indicated that agents will be required to secure judicial warrants to enter homes and businesses, marking a key change from DHS' previous position. Pakistan's Prime Minister said on Tuesday he was willing to host talks between the United States and Iran on ending the war, a day after President Donald Trump postponed threats to burn Iranian power plants after what he called productive talks. In a post on X, Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif said Pakistan welcomes and fully supports ongoing effort to pursue dialogue to end the war in the Middle East. Trump said on Monday the US and Iran had held very good and productive conversations about a complete and total resolution of hostilities in the Middle East. He said talks had begun on Sunday and continued into Monday, with Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and his son-in-law Jared Kushner involved. Iran's powerful parliament speaker Mohammed Bakir Ghalibaf, identified by an Israeli official as the Iranian interlocutor, denied that any talks had occurred, dismissing such claims as fake news. And that is the news from Kule Amzat Studio, Agidigbo FM, United States. I am Oluwatosi Sonya.
And now the exciting world of sports. The Super Eagles of Nigeria coaches arrived in Antalya, Turkey this afternoon ahead of Iran-Jordan friendlies. The Super Eagles coaching staff, led by Kerry, along with a team of officials, initially arrived in Istanbul today and are scheduled to touch down in Antalya later in the day for the first training session with the players. Eric Shaw will immediately begin organizing training sessions, reviewing tactical plans, and ensuring all logistical arrangements are in place to facilitate a smooth camp, while the invited players are expected to arrive later today, but a full squad is set to be in camp before the close of business. The friendlies are part of a four-nation invitational tournament that was relocated to Turkey due to security concerns in the Middle East. To wrap up the news this evening, here is a recap of the headlines. Presidential aide says Tinubu is having sleepless nights over insecurity. Oyo police rescued a kidnapped victim unhurt. Intensify manhunt. Slovenia becomes the first EU country to introduce a fuel rationing. Pakistan willing to host peace talks to end US-Israeli war on Iran. Super Eagles coaches arrive in Turkey ahead of friendly games.
Don't forget that you can listen to us live on our website www.agidigbo887fm.com. You can also download our mobile app on the Google Play Store and iOS. Simply search for Agidigbo 88.7 FM. Follow us on Facebook at Agidigbo 88.7 FM, on Twitter and Instagram at Agidigbo 887 FM, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you have news stories and tips for us, contact our newsroom on 070-8714-4865 or send us a mail on newsroom@agidigbo887fm.com.
And before we go this evening, here is a quick tip. Sometimes it is the smallest decisions that can change your life forever. Finally, we have come to the end of the news around the world on the most listened to radio station, Agidigbo 88.7 FM, Ibadan. I am Raula Yusuf. Thank you for listening. Good evening.
News is information, and information is power. At Agidigbo 88.